back, y'all. It's Thursday, another episode of Late Night Vision Show. This is episode 264. We've got you're not going to guess, we've got another review. But before we get into it, and before I introduce the expert of the show, our MVP, our main man, I'm going to tell you, if you are looking to purchase a new night vision or thermal optic, give us a call, 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. You can find everything there. You can pause this video in the middle of it, call up the number, give it and say, hey, I want to talk to Hans. I've got a question. I'm watching. You can do it. 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. So the co-hostess with the mostest, Jason Robertson. What's going on? How are you doing on this Thursday? And what are we talking about today?
I'm going to tell you the truth. All those kind of things that you're saying about the expert,
I didn't say they were true.
I thought that you had gotten rid of me and had gotten another host. I was getting a little concerned who you might be going to introduce.
I'm warming up for your replacement. I am. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, because all those were very kind things. They just weren't true about me. So that must be
the MVP of this. That was definitely a fudge. I'm just going to say, if I'm handing out MVP trophies, I'm. My probably just hand is my.
You're giving yourself the trophy. I know. It's true. All right, guys, we have got another great review for you this week. Hans has already told you where to get this stuff, and I'm just going to say it one more time. If you want to support the Late Night Vision Show, if you appreciate what you see on this show, then the way to do that is by choosing Outdoor Legacy to be your dealer where you purchase your thermal and night vision optics. That's just one thing we want to say up front. If we appreciate all of our listeners, and if you want to support us, that is the way to do it. So, guys, this is a big review, and we always say that, or say always. A lot of times we do. This one really is, and I'm going to tell you why. We're going to talk about a technology here that is. I feel like I'm rambling here for the people that don't know, but we're going to talk about a technology that I think is going to change this industry. And we're going to get into that a little bit more, but let me tell you what we are reviewing. It is the Infiray Outdoor Ricoh Pro 640. This is the RH50P as in Pro, RH50P. All right, guys, this scope, I'm going to just go ahead and try to explain this right up front. This has something that no thermal scope that we've ever seen has, and it is a feature that is optical zoom. And optical zoom meaning there are two lenses inside this scope. And Hans is going to show you how it works. But when you twist these lenses, this unit changes from a 1.5 power to a 3 power optically. And if you're new to thermals, you go, well, what's this guy? Big deal. What's his, why is he excited about this? Every other thermal scope up until this point of this optic has had digital zoom only. So you're zooming in on the picture. The image quality gets worse every time you zoom up. Now, this scope still has digital zoom, but it gives you the option of a 1.5 or a 3 power with no image quality loss. This is truly a 2-in-1 scope. Also, we're going to get into a little bit more here in a little bit during the discussion. I'm going to bring up the Infiray zooms. Those are the handheld binoculars we reviewed last year that had this feature. I'm going to just go ahead and spill the beans and tell you that was the first, addition of any type of optical zoom. And those were in handhelds. We thought it was really cool because it was new. Guys, this is unbelievable. Way better. They have greatly improved the way this works, and we're going to be talking a lot about that. So you're probably going to hear the word optical zoom more times than you want to in this review. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to jump into the specifications, kind of go over these quickly. I wanted to explain that now so you kind of knew what the excitement was, what the big deal is going to be about this show. So again, it is the Infiray Outdoor Ricoh 640 or Ricoh Pro 640. So as you would expect, it is a 640 by 512 resolution. We've brought this up before. 640 by 480 is standard. 640 by 512 is the same thing. It's a little more of a square image inside the display screen. You're not going to tell the difference in the few extra pixels there. Price on this unit is $6,499. It is a 640 by 512 12 micron sensor, 50 hertz refresh rate. As mentioned, it has an optical base magnification of 1.5 and 3 power. It does have the digital zoom 4 times on each of those. So 1.5, you can go up 4 times that, and then 3, you could go up to 12 power there as well. All right, so coming on down, we've got an AMOLED display screen with a resolution of 1024 by 768. There are 7 reticles with 5 different color palettes. There is picture-in-picture. There's Wi-Fi streaming to the Infiray outdoor smartphone or tablet app. There is video and audio recording. Field of view. On the 1.5 power lens, the field of view is an extremely out of this world wide 92 feet at 100 yards. And when you zoom up to the 3 power lens, you have a 46 feet at 100 yards field of view. Infiray says this unit has a 2,400 yard detection range. ID range. This is where Hans and I say what we estimate that we think the identification range is. We try to be conservative. We try to be realistic. You may, mileage may vary. With experience, you may ID out a little bit further. Bad conditions or maybe a little bit newer to thermal, you might not get quite the same ID range, but we're going to say it's 500 to 600 yards pretty easily once you've zoomed up to that 3 power lens. It is an IPS 6.7 rating, means it is fully waterproof, submersible to 3 foot for 30 minutes. It's also fully dust proof. Temperature rating is down to -4 degrees. It's a recoil rated for anything up to and including a 300 Win Mag or a 7mm mag. It does have a fully removable proprietary rechargeable battery pack. That battery pack, Infiray says you're going to get about 6 hours out of that. In our testing, thank you to our salesman Ashley. He drew the short straw to test this unit. He actually got over 7.5 hours on that battery. Not just a straight bench test, turning it on, letting it sit there and run. So obviously, recording video, using Wi-Fi, turning it off and on, all those sort of things is going to bring that down some, as well as, cold weather could as well. But we were very happy when anytime we beat the manufacturer's, estimate of runtime, we're very happy. So like I said, they're saying 6 hours. We're going to say 6+ since we got about 7.5 out of it. The weight on this unit is 35 ounces with an American Defense manufacturing QD mount and a battery pack. And also available, that is not included with it, but it is available, is the ILR 1000. That is the laser rangefinder that iRay has that you can buy separately for $7.99 and attach it to the side of the scope. It fully integrates into the software of the scope. It will allow you to range and see the distance, pop up on your display screen, but it is a removable laser rangefinder. And as always, a big deal, maybe the biggest deal, saving it for last here, is the iRay USA 5-year warranty. Not just a 5-year warranty, but a 5 business day turnaround time on either repairing or replacing your unit. And I guess I should say 5 business day turnaround. That's not true. 5 business days that they will have the unit a maximum. They could have it less, but 5 days is what they set their standard at of trying to get that unit back out the door before they've had it 5 business days. So that's awesome warranty. Again, iRay USA, who distributes these optics, is based here in Texas. Great guys over there. Good customer service. One quick thing I'm going to mention, Hans is going to get into this. He'll show it. There is going to be I think he'll show it. I think he's got it there. There's a new mount that is shipping with this scope, and it is a quick detach mount. It is not an American Defense mount. Okay, this is an Infiray branded mount. It's fine. It's okay if you can get it out of the box. You can slap it on your rifle, and you can go to town and get to hunting with it. If you want a high-end, quick detach, guaranteed lifetime warranty, return to zero mount, we still recommend the $200 American Defense mount that iRay had specifically made for their scopes. Okay, so that is still an option. This is just a different mount that comes with it. I will go ahead and note, if you're wanting to mount this on a bolt action style rifle, this included mount now is not going to be conducive to that unless you've got a collapsible stock. Anything with a fixed stock, you're going to have a little more trouble getting that proper eye relief, with the style of mount that it is shipping with now. Again, it does have some QD throw levers on it. We have not tested how accurate it is and whether it returns to zero, but it is a nice looking mount. If you're going to put on your rifle and forget about it, no problem. If you want something that's a touch smaller, a little more sleek, and from an American-made high-end name like American Defense, that is the mount we're still going to suggest.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, great explanation on that. So let's talk about what comes with the optic, and then we'll get into it itself. Do a walk around. So obviously you got this nice mesh-looking bag here. Jason mentioned the mount. I was kind of showing it before. It's got a two-throw lever. This is much better for AR style rifles than what they were previously sending out. If you remember any of the Ricoh reviews, it's a very long mount that works better on bolt action, like Jason said, but this is going to be better for AR style rifles. Now, showing this compared to the ADM mount, don't think, well, that one, it's got two throw levers. The iRay's got two throw levers, or the Infiray outdoor mount has two throw levers, and the ADM only's got one. That means it's better, right? No, it doesn't mean it's better. It just means it has two and the other one has one. So obviously the American Defense is definitely a higher end mount, but it does come with something that's a little bit more conducive for shooting on AR style rifles. You do get a battery pack, charging base. You get your wall plug. You get the cords that you need, the USB-C cord. That's about it. There's nothing else really that you need. It does come with one battery. So you're good to go there. Let's do a walk around of the optic. I was demonstrating while Jason was talking about the optical zoom and how it works. And we'll talk about this, how it's an improvement above the zoom binoculars, but it's a very quick and easy, almost just like a 30, 35 degree turn on that to change it from 1.5 power to 3 power. Very quick and easy. It does have 4 times digital zoom stepped up in between those optical zoom ranges, but you can see the 4-button layout on top. Very wide spread buttons, generously raised and spaced. I would say this is very important. Why we harp on buttons and button placement so much is because of our friends that hunt with gloves up north. And if you've ever tried to operate a thermal or a night vision optic at night with gloves on, you can tell there's a wrong way to design a button layout and there's a right way. This one is designed, I would say, just as good as it could possibly be. Again, nice spacing, generously raised button layout on top. You've got your battery compartment on the side where the battery slides in and out of. Dual focus. Now the focus knob right here is right on top. That's where when you're turning it to increase the magnification from 1.5x to 3x, that knob on top is actually where you focus it as well. So you got the focus there, eyepiece diopter focus, rubber eye cup that does remove if you want to take it off. It does have the plastic lens cover, very sturdy, doesn't move around. It's not going to flip open or flip closed while you're trying to walk around with it. But it is, y'all, very similar. If you've seen the iRay, the Infiray Outdoor Ricoh RH50, I mean, it looks just like it, except it's got this focus on top that turns, for the optical zoom. But that is a walk around of the scope. Let's talk a little bit about, Jason, since I mentioned it, and it might be a good spot to talk about the zoom binoculars and now this new Ricoh Pro RH50P.
So I think that this is a very important distinction because the zoom, the infrared zoom binoculars were the first we had ever seen of this. And I went on the record then and I said, this is the way of the future. This is what we're going to see in more thermal optics. And I still stand by that. And I'll kind of get into that into a minute. The zoom binoculars were truly the first generation of a brand new groundbreaking technology that this industry had never seen. Never been a thermal hunting optic in the United States that had that type of technology. It didn't work as well as we all wanted it to. It worked, but the image was just soft. That's the truth of it is, the actual function of the two lenses worked great. The image was just soft. You felt like you were losing a little bit of your clarity there. Well, I think that's the first generation of any kind of new technology. Infiray went back to the drawing board. They came back with this. And guys, I can tell you this. I have run the RH50, which is, again, the current model, still out there, but the 3-power version of this without the optical zoom. I've run it side by side extensively with the RH50P, and I can see no image quality difference. Now that's here. It's not better and it's not worse. I think I could make the argument that the RH50P was a little better image quality in some situations of getting a little more detail, but I'm just going to go on the record and say, I think the image quality is the same. I think we're splitting hairs. And so if somebody tells you that this unit is way better or way worse, then I would say they either have not put them side by side, they're lying to you, or they've got a defective unit somewhere in the mix because they're so similar. So what I'm getting at is you are not losing anything by using this optical zoom. It is a very, and Hans showed that, it's a very quick turn. On those zoom binoculars, you had a longer turn to go back and forth. On this, as he showed, it's not even a 45. It's whatever he said, maybe 30 degrees, maybe it's 22 degrees. I don't know what it is, but you're not turning that very far at all.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that was the biggest thing that I noticed about that. And the zoom, like you said, functionality wise, it worked the way it should, but you had to turn.
Sure.
And if you've never seen the zoom binoculars, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But to change it from the different objective magnifications, you'd have to basically turn the dial, 360, the focus ring 360 degrees or something, a long ways. It just seemed like maybe even a couple turns. But this is, like I said, you're changing it just a fraction of that to get it to move over.
Yeah, and so what you were also doing with the zoom is you were turning the focus ring. So you're actually taking the unit completely out of focus. With this, the way this is, when you twist this down, it does not remain in perfect focus, but it's really close. It needs, so when you go from 1.5 to 3 or 3 to 1.5, the focus is absolutely good enough to take a shot, but you might want to reach up there and just make a very fine adjustment to the focus. So here's the point in all this, guys. This is the way of the future. I believe, and again, maybe I'm all wet and I'm wrong here, but I think when we come back and we revisit this topic in 3, 4, 5 years, we're going to see every manufacturer having optical zoom. If we don't, I think that I'm going to be very, very surprised, because what this has done is, I said this in the beginning, I'm going to say this again, this is a 2-in-1 scope. We'll talk about that when we kind of get to who it's good for, but you are truly buying a 1.5 power, very low magnification, super wide field of view, up close hunting optic, as well as a greater magnified 3-power optic, which is really the standard resolution that guys that are coyote hunting, even a lot of hog hunters, are buying. So I don't want to, I don't want to jump the gun into that. We'll talk about who it's good for, but I do want to just make the point of saying this optical zoom is legit. It works exactly like it should. I don't know anything that I would improve on that. There may be some way to improve it, but it works. It works perfectly, in my opinion. All right, let's jump into likes and dislikes. I think the last couple times I've made Hans do the dislikes, so I'm gonna fall on the sword this time, and I'll do the dirty work, and I'll let him get all the glory and talk about how great it is.
All right.
But maybe he can
I'll take it.
Maybe he can save something.
Yeah,
from me.
I'll accept that. So I would say you can't start the list without talking about the biggest like, and that would be optical zoom. We're gonna
Wait a minute. I thought I'm doing the dislike first.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me get the dislikes out of the way.
Yeah,
Let me
that's
get
right.
the
We like to do
dislikes
that
out of the
first.
way.
Go ahead.
I like to do them first. Yeah, let's do that. All right. So dislikes, this is not a small scope. I mean, Hans has been holding it up here. It's a big, bulky scope. It is a full-size thermal scope. I know that a lot of us really, really like the design of like the Infiray bolt, where it looks like a daytime scope in a 30 millimeter tube. And that's actually a design that Hans and I really kind of prefer. But I also know that there is a large group of guys out there that don't like that design, and they prefer this more traditional thermal style, kind of what we call a block type scope. I mean, it's a bigger unit, but a lot of people really like that. So this is a pro or a con wherever this is chocolate and vanilla. Some people really do like it. I think for me, I've gotten used to these slimmer style scopes. Again, the 30 millimeter tubes, or even the small style traditional look. But this is a big full size scope. So, I mean, I think some guys are maybe not going to like that. Proprietary batteries. This is something that we harp on with other manufacturers. If it's up to us, you're always going to have a fully removable, generic, rechargeable battery, whether that's an 18650, a 26650, an 18500, whatever it is, some kind of battery that I can go online, I can buy several of, generic, any brand I want, charge them up, and I've got them good to go. So proprietary battery packs, this is really the way it's always been, but we see the industry kind of moving away from that a little bit. So, I mean, it is fully removable, but yeah, it would be nice if it wasn't a proprietary battery pack. But again, you're getting 6-7 hours of run time. I don't think that's too bad. And the batteries are affordable for what it is. You can buy spare batteries. It does have audio recording, but the audio is not great. I think that's just one thing that has not been mastered in some of these scopes yet, is the audio is there. We just haven't been super happy with, the quality of the audio recording. Not as good as I think that it could be, but it is audio. It's not terrible. It's there. I know that's something in the past that it says from the RH50 and the RL42 and the RH35, that this same Ricoh MK1 body style, it is a serious improvement over that. When you say so.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I put. It's weird when you put the same item on as a like and a dislike. It just feels weird to put it in that order.
So see, Hans is going to talk about him liking it. I'm over here talking about not liking it. So,
on my notes,
that's the end of my list.
On my notes, I have it has audio, but it's an improvement, but it's not great. So yes, the audio is improved. It's not as good as some others out there. It's probably not as bad as some others. It is an improvement. You can definitely hear a shot. You're not going to hear a lot of conversations in the background. There's a lot of guys that say, man, I like to hear ourselves talk after we shoot and all this. And you may hear some of that. You may not hear an electric collar depending on how far away it is, but it is an improvement. The shots sound more like a shot instead of just a pop, an audio pop. So that's a good thing. I would say, again, going back to the likes, the number one thing I would say has to be optical zoom. I don't think you can mention it, a likes list without that one being number one. I agree, Jason. I hope that this is the future of thermal digital optics.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think frustrates a lot of people whenever they call and really trying to decide on an optic with the correct base magnification or the correct magnification range. We're having to do that because of digital zoom and how it degrades the picture image, cuts the picture image in half. every time you step up with digital zoom. Now with optical zoom, you're not losing that picture clarity. You're not taking away resolution. This has both. The Ricoh Pro has both optical zoom and digital zoom. So, I mean, I do hope that this is the future. This does create, and I'll go to my second like, this does create, and we can talk about this more in Who's It Good For, but this creates an optic I think that is better for more hunters. I think long range shooters, short range shooters, I have on my list here, it's an all in one optic. You said it's a great for both different styles of hunter. However you want to word it, I think that this is something that really any hunter, whatever you're hunting, could step into and it'd be really good for. I'll save some for you. Go ahead. I'll let you save some.
Oh, man.
Go ahead.
All right, let me go to my list here. So I do think that the focus is very quick and easy to use. Again, I think we're going back to, if you may think, well, why are they even bringing that up? We're going back to that original zoom monocular where the focus was very finicky and you're twisting the ring. It's just the way that thing functions. So on this, focus is very nice, very tight, exactly what you expect. Same thing you get from any of the other, Ricoh MK1 units. So I like that. Yes, I mean, you called it an all-in-one. I mean, I think on my notes I called it a 2-in-1 because it's same kind of thing. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I think one thing that I did notice, and I think this has happened through some firmware updates, but the black hot is much better than what the original RH50, RH35s were on the MK1 units. And again, to me, I'm a white hot guy. White hot's always been fantastic. So I don't really care, but I do know that you, Hans, and a lot of other guys are black hot guys, which is perfectly fine. That's, again, people ask that all the time. Should I use white hot? Should I use black hot? Chocolate vanilla. What do you like? Use what you like. It doesn't matter. Even Hans and I can disagree on that. He grabs my scope. First thing he does is shove it in black hot. I grab his. I put it in white hot. It's just personal preference. But the black hot on those original models, it was just, I don't know, it was just lacking compared to how impressive the white hot is. On this, it's no issue. Black hot looks really nice. It's definitely improved. Very much so. White hot and black hot look really, really good. There are other color palettes. Generally, most people, though, after you get a little experience, you're probably going to go to one of those two, white hot, black hot. There is a highlight mode that a lot of, iRay people like. A lot of guys that use them like that mode. It's a white hot. It's a version of that.
I think it looks better for when you're really short, like really, really short range. It shows a lot of detail. I think further away, I don't tend to like it further away.
I don't either.
But close up, it looks good. It shows a lot of detail up close.
Yeah, I agree. I stick with the white hot. But, so again, guys, overall, fantastic scope, great image quality. I mean, the image quality is a legit high-end 640 image, very long identification range. Again, we can't talk about the likes and not talk about the battery life. I mean, again, Hans kind of, we're joking here. We're putting things in the dislikes, but also putting them in likes. Battery life is really, really good on their, battery packs. 6-7 hours, guys. It's a long time of runtime on a sub $200 battery. So very happy with that. And then the 5-year warranty. That's just a big deal. I mean, it gives you that peace of mind. And what it also does, in my opinion, is it protects your investment. You buy this scope, you use it for 2 years, and guess what? They come out with the Ricoh Pro version 3000, and you want it, because that thing will, drive your truck for you and call coyotes, whatever. You still got 3 years of warranty left. I mean, whatever that extra warranty period you have that starts at the day that you purchase it, then you're going to be able to transfer that on to when you sell it, whether you're selling it to a stranger, your brother-in-law, your buddy, giving it to your kids, whatever. You still have that peace of mind, or they do, for that warranty. So I think that helps protect your investment on down the road. And one quick thing, I'm not gonna go in a big long rabbit trail on this, but I just see this a lot. Guys will say, "Hey, I've had this scope, but I never registered the warranty, so you get a full warranty." Guys, the warranty on any thermal or night vision scope starts the day that you buy it. It starts with your receipt. And if you don't have the receipt, then the manufacturer is going to have to go back, look at serial numbers and try to figure out when that optic was sold to a dealer. So I see that a lot of, especially this time of year, a lot of guys are upgrading and selling. And I'll see guys say, never registered it, so full warranty. And there's some poor guy buying that scope that, he thinks maybe he's got 5 years of warranty. In reality, he may have two, or whatever. So you need to be mindful of that. Now let's jump into the who it's good for. I want to say this.
This is the easiest segment that we've probably ever done on a scope review as far as who is good for.
It really is. And I don't want to say that it's for everybody. Okay. Hans and I've always said the perfect thermal scope has never been made. When it is made, then this will be the last episode of this show and we'll shut it down because y'all don't need us anymore. Everybody can go buy the perfect scope. But I do think that this is a great improvement towards that. I'm going to say this. And I know that iRay USA would disagree with this, and I'm sure that every other thermal manufacturer would. But if I was making thermal optics, what I would suggest is that everything goes to this design of optical zoom, and I would take my entire product line and I would cut it in by about a third. I would probably sell about 3 or 4 total scopes.
Y'all are listening to Jason's daily battle with these manufacturers about how many options.
That's true. Well, it's true. There's too many options, guys. The market's getting flooded with options. Y'all are staying confused. We stay confused. There's a lot of confusion. We're trying to talk about scopes and we're like, oh no, not that model. Sorry, this model. So there is a lot. But here's the thing. This takes that out. Hans has said it. I've already said it. We're going to keep harping on this point here, but if you're the guy, so let me back up. If you call us and you say, "Hey, I'm predator hunting," we're immediately gonna. In our mind, immediately we're gonna go to a 3-power scope. Unless you tell me that you're in Pennsylvania or somewhere and you're hunting little bitty fields and tight woodlots or whatever. Okay, maybe there's an exception. Generally speaking, we're gonna go to a 3-power. Now, you could be out in the Northwest or the Midwest or somewhere where you've got big, wide open, just long ranges, and you may need a 4-power. All right, so we might move you into that. But generally, the catch-all, we immediately go to a 3-power. So what that does, though, is it scares some guys because they go, yeah, but you know what? Sometimes I go and I hunt this field that, I've gotten, I can only see 100 yards. Or, hey, I come down to Texas or come down to the South, a couple times a year and go on hog hunts. And man, we may be shooting hogs at feeders at 30, 40 yards. We may be spotting and stalking. Gosh, a 3-power, I can do it. And so then we have to get into this whole thing of, well, you need to buy for what you're going to use the most of the time. So, squeeze that 3-power, make that work when you're down here, in the South or what have you. This takes that out. Now, I wouldn't say that everybody needs to run out and buy this thing if you're never going to use it at 1.5 power. Right. Okay, that didn't make any sense. But because you're paying more for this scope, it's $64.99. But if you do want that peace of mind of, I really want 2 scopes, I need 2 different magnifications, I really don't want to buy 2 scopes, this is a cheap way of getting around that. Right. You're getting 2 fantastic scopes in one, close range, mid-range, and what I would say longer range, all in one.
I would say everything you said, and I would add one caveat that's maybe more of a personal preference, but I tend to like this style of optic for an AR style rifle more than I do than a bolt action rifle. 100%. So that's personal preference 100%. I see a lot of people mounting these things on bolt action rifles. It's just whatever you prefer. But when I see a scope like this, I automatically think, man, that looks great on an AR style rifle, and the Infiray outdoor bolts look great on a bolt action rifle. So that's the only thing that I would add to your otherwise spotless recommendation, Jason.
Man, that was good. No, I do agree with that. We already talked about the mounting issue. I don't think you're going to go take, a standard fixed stock rifle and mount this up there. And I mean, I'm not saying you're not going to, but it's going to be unlikely you're going to get the eye relief you need. So yeah, I do definitely think you're going to want to run this thing on an AR or a collapsible stock style rifle. Maybe you got a bolt gun on a chassis or something. That's totally different. No problems there. So I do think this is a good scope for a lot of different people. Hog hunters, coyote hunters, in between hunters. I really, really like the 1.5 and the 3. I mean, as we go back up here and we look at these field of view, I mean, the 3 power, 46 feet at 100 yards, that's the standard. Okay. That's a standard 3 power magnification field of view, anywhere between, 42 and 50. Yeah, definitely. That's right in the middle of it. 1.5 power, though, when you're on that magnification, 92 feet at 100 yards, that's super wide, guys. Anytime you start getting over 70, 80 feet, that's a lot of field of view. So I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to make this clear. I was using this optic. Hans knows this. Hans, myself, Ashley, we all run handheld scanners. Okay. But the way that I was running this optic was I was leaving it in the 1.5 power. And even when I've got my monocular and I spot some hogs down there at 300-400 yards, I then go to the optic and the Ricoh Pro. And what I like is I've got this super wide field of view. Found them. There they are. They're in my field of view. Reach up there. Boom. Short turn. I'm at my 3 power. And now I'm ready to shoot. Meaning sometimes if you've got, say, a 3 power scope, you find the animal with your handheld and then you go up to it. You go, nope, they're over to the left. Well, you don't have to worry about that. And this is so quick. Second point, for the guys that don't have a scanner, now you can scan with this scope, whether it's on your rifle or in your hand or however you're going to do it, with this super wide field of view. Great for scanning, but switch that thing over to the 3 power and go right up to shooting. Now, my last point I'll make on that is if you're going to spend $6,500, I think you need a scanner. Okay. I mean, I would cut this budget if I had to and get a handheld scanner. You're spending this much money. If you're going to hunt much, I would definitely say, you're going to want a handheld, but you could do it that way. So again, I think just putting a bow on it for me, Hans, I'm going to let you have the last word, but I would say we always say excited, but it is super excited. I don't want to, Hans hates the term game changer. I don't want to use that.
I'm going to edit that out.
That term. Yeah, exactly. You can. I don't want to use that term because I know that Hans hates it, but I do think there's a lot going on in the thermal world. And I'll be honest, a lot of it is opting out of Infiray and iRay USA. We're talking about 1280 thermal scopes. We're talking about optical zoom. There's a lot happening. And I think that iRay is pushing the industry with 5-year warranties, with optical zoom, with super high resolution, with like the bolts have got the very high resolution display screens. They're making moves. And I think they're making moves here and there, and it has really been good for this industry. It is pushing it, and we can't say this enough, but we're going to have to see some more optics with this optical zoom because I think it's the real deal.
You're exactly right. And it's not that I hate the word game changer, which I kind of do, but social media made me that way. And it's because everything that ever came out, any other product, it's always a game changer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this new fidget spinner, it's got this, it's a game changer. Well,
that's right.
Not everything that comes out is a game changer, but this is, I'll use a better word, revolutionary somewhat. Maybe that's too dramatic. I don't know, but it's close.
Well, it is.
So if you are looking to purchase this optic, if you want to talk about other optics, if you want to talk to people that have used just about everything out there for the last 10 years. We can go back and talk about the old, some brands that aren't even around anymore, Jason. We'll throw it back that far. But
We're
if
old.
you want to talk about, we talk about this stuff with people that are experienced, that have used it in the field, in the correct application of what you're trying to use it for, give us a call, 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. Again, you can talk to me, Jason, Ashley. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We want to talk to you, and we would love to earn your business. You can find all of our past episodes of the Late Night Vision Show on our website, thelatenightVisionShow.com. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Please subscribe, give us a like, share us. That'd be great. Facebook, Instagram, The Late Night Vision Show. You can find Jason over on most forums, thermal forums, somewhere on Facebook. He gets on there, and he is just a nice guy, y'all. He goes in there and answers all these questions for everybody and tries to deflect all the bad info out there. He reads me some of this stuff, and I'm like, dude, why do you even bother?
Yeah,
But
I
it's
know.
his,
It's a full-time
it's
job
his,
that I don't have.
it's
time
his
for.
customer service, it's more like community service that he's doing, I guess, out there trying to police the internet with all this bad info. Anyway, you can find him on Facebook, Outdoor Legacy. You can find him on Instagram, Outdoor Legacy, and on YouTube as well. Also, thank him for doing our this week's 2-Minute Tuesday preview. So, that's something I've committed him to, and he came along kicking and screaming, but he did it. So thank y'all.
Right.
Thank y'all for thanking him for doing what he needed to do, doing his job, man. Thank you. And then you can find me on YouTube, Hans ETX, and on Instagram, Facebook, the same thing. Anyway, let's close it out.
All right. Okay, guys. Hey, thanks for watching this review. We really, really do appreciate it. As Hans said, 877-350-1818. You can talk to Hans. You can talk to Ashley. I'm around. You can talk to me. I'm often busy doing other things, trying to keep these two guys working, but I'm around as well. And we're always happy to talk to you and answer any questions. We would love to have your business. It would mean so much to us. You can also go to the website, outdoorlegacygear.com. All right, guys. Hope to see y'all back here, same place, next week, next Thursday. If you don't watch these on Thursdays, whatever day you watch them, they're still there waiting for you. But we plan to be releasing another great episode next Thursday. Between now and then, y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.